Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. It is I, Mythical Misfortune. How are you beautiful people doing today? I'm doing just fine. And like that, let's get ready to start this! Yes, today we're talking about Dragon Ball Super and some ideas to go ahead and continue on with the series. As we found out recently, Funimation and Toei Animation have signed a multi-year contract with one another, in Funimation being able to now dub Dragon Ball Super and slowly, of course, catch up to the original release in the Japanese episodes. Now, the multi-year contracting suggests that instead of the 100 episodes that's been advertised on most anime websites that have the number of episodes for animes, we will be getting more than 100 episodes. So as we look at that, a lot of people have been suggesting that the multi-universe tournament will be the final arc. While I would be one to say that I don't think it'll be the last one, let me specifically say that I don't think the first time they do this will be the last one, because I believe with the way Super has been made, we will be able to get two different multi-universe tournaments. One being the initial one in us introducing us to characters and gods of destruction and angels and this and that from each universe, as we also found out recently in Dragon Ball Super that Whis is an angel, so thusly all assistants to gods of destruction are angels. Moving on. My suggestion is that after this hit arc, there should be a little bit more exploration into possibly bringing back the Saiyans. Not all of them, of course, because I'm not sure exactly how that works, but on the other hand, there's been so many other different things and screwy things happening with the Dragon Balls in recent memory for Dragon Ball Super. Why not go ahead and just throw out any other rule that may have to deal with reviving people after a certain period of time? I don't know. I'd have to go visit the official Dragon Ball wiki to make sure of that, but to my memory there isn't one like that. But if there is, might as well go ahead and throw that out the window personally, because it just doesn't really make much sense that Vegeta, being the Prince of all Saiyans, has not at least thought once to bring back his people, bring them back to life. Now, I would also say that, of course, again, don't bring back everybody, but at least a strong handful, you know? I would probably say, just off guess, again, I don't know exactly if this is out there or not for the official Dragon Ball lore or not, but for Planet Vegeta, I would probably say the entire population of Planet Vegeta was probably about the same size as the population of China. Now, I don't need the entire Saiyan race if that's the case back, but I would probably say at least a good 1,000 to 2,000 Saiyans would be nice to bring back. 1,000. Just 1,000. And 2 of those 1,000 should be Raditz and Nappa. Why Raditz and Nappa? Raditz because Goku's family, duh. And Nappa, I feel like Nappa knows a little bit more Vegeta's story that could be told as we're getting more and more Vegeta development, that it would be nice to have Nappa around, because as we see in some of the images from the old Z Saga when we were first introduced to Vegeta, that we get that Nappa was there as a younger Saiyan himself that grew up and cared for Vegeta. So it would be nice to know how that was, how basically Vegeta was as a kid, because Bulma knows how Goku was a kid. Everybody knows how Goku was as a kid, but we don't know how Vegeta was as a kid. So it would be nice to hear a little bit of that kind of story stuff, even if it's just for filler's sake. It's nice character development on a character that's getting so much as it is, and it's nice to see it. So that's just part of it, while we're also looking into future tournaments, as I'm suggesting 2 different multi-universe tournaments. I would say that we also need to power up Piccolo, in giving Piccolo a Namekian god. We've given him Super Namekian, similar to Super Saiyan, so why not give him Namekian god and then Super Namekian god? It makes a lot of sense in that regard. And then if you just do it that way, it's just, if people want a higher power level, I would just work it as for Piccolo getting Namekian god similar to Super Saiyan god, to then Super Namekian god just as it is to Super Saiyan Blue, and then finally for Piccolo at least, Mastered Namekian god. And now this is just a little bit of a power curving that I'm starting to notice with Super, in that they're controlling the power levels a little bit more and trying to up their base stat rather than having power-ups, thusly having a Mastered Namekian god form that multiplies Piccolo's power already. It would be nice, since Piccolo doesn't really need a lot of power-ups, but also uses his time wisely and trains properly to better use his own abilities and strategize best. We see this best example of what I'm talking about for Piccolo during the Universe 6, Universe 7 tournament, in which he strategizes fairly well against Frost, even though Frost cheated, to almost beat him. So thusly, if Piccolo at least had some similar power level to that, he would stay a more relevant card, in my opinion, for the series to continue to keep him on the multi-universe team. And while we're on the subject of the multi-universe team, here is the team that I personally foresee for Universe 7 that I feel like should happen. Excuse me, I'm just burping all over the place. Goku and Vegeta and Piccolo are, of course, 3 out the gate. Our next 2 are probably a little bit weird, I'm not going to deny. One being in revitalized Gohan, in that he's trained enough to where he can now at least somewhat keep up with these fighters, and finding the perfect balance in being a normal man who has a job while still being able to train and fight and be able to protect the earth like he needs to. But in doing so, he's still only the 5th strongest person from Universe 7 in that regard. While the next person I have in mind would be stronger than Gohan, it also fixes another problem with Beerus if you bring this character in while also making him canon and bringing in Super 17. Why Super 17? You can easily have something where you bring up Android 17, you ask Android 17, because he's not fully all robotic, he's Cyborg 17 rather than Android 17. You bring him up to the lookout, and just like there was the Sacred Water during the Garlic Jr. saga, you can have some other elixir up there at the lookout that 17 can drink and go into the hyperbolic time chamber and fight a shadow version of himself, an evil version of himself, like we see in Kingdom Hearts and Legend of Zelda, where you fight a shadow version of yourself, which is technically the evil within your heart. Now, 17 can do this, and by defeating it, he then fuses with that other self while also training himself to become stronger. And when he fuses with this dark evil self after the fact, he becomes Super 17 and thusly trains even more to become stronger. And when he comes out, you can easily use this as maybe a comedic thing, as Dragon Ball has been trying to be, in bringing Super 17 to solve Beerus' problem. And hey, you don't need Monaka anymore. You can just put the suit on one last time, I'll fight you, just take a dive. Or you can just simply say, hey Goku, this guy fought Monaka and won, so now he's the guy you have to be, and it's Super 17, and it's a guy now that Goku can honestly fight, and if he honestly fights him, 17 should win, so that way it proves Beerus' point, and it actually helps Beerus even more. So that way that little problem can go away. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know about many other Dragon Ball fans out there, but I personally do not like Monaka. That's a personal thing. That's neither here nor there. Now moving on to what I consider the main event. our first multi-universe tournament should be similar to the Dark Tournament in Yu Yu Hakusho. Why? Because I have to say that tournament was done possibly the greatest if you're considering a whole menagerie of new characters that slowly people fell in love with over the course of Yu Yu Hakusho and introduced them and quite sadly didn't take advantage of them. With this new information that Dragon Ball Super could get more than 100 episodes, you can take advantage of this by using this first tournament to introduce these other characters from other universes and get them to become parts of the Dragon Ball universe. Of course, Universe 7 should lose the first time, which would bring up the second multi-universe tournament, but for right now, it should just be a simple tournament-based arc similar to the Dark Tournament, in which I believe that there should be one universe that takes advantage of this and wins out in being a quote evil universe. I would probably give them their fighters revolving around the theme of the Shadow Dragons. Essentially, in order to help Akira Toriyama save some time and money and possibly headache, he should have enough characters for this first multi-universe arc, and just for a good chunk of the other gods of destruction, they should kill their team because they failed them, like Champa was going to do with his team. But he should also be ready for the second tournament and be more prepared, because he'll have an easier time by using other characters that he's already brought up through the movies and through the series overall. But before we get to those teams in the grand final second multi-universe tournament, between the time frame of the ending of the first multiverse tournament and the beginning of the second one, there should be Goku traveling at least 2 to 3 different arcs where Goku travels to a couple of different universes to meet up with the different teams of the universe, their specific universes, as well as meeting their gods of destruction. Which universes they should be mostly depends on other, I guess, good would be the word I would use, the other good universes with good gods of destructions, or at least somewhat decent gods of destruction similar to Beerus, so that you could still have that while still having other clear-cut evil gods of destruction that just killed their squads. And as I go back real quick and talk about the universe that has Shadow Dragons as their participants, as their warriors, I never had a problem with the Shadow Dragons personally. The Shadow Dragons were a very creative idea that wasn't executed properly and wasn't designed properly. Now, there are some designs that I liked, like Omega Shenron, of course, and then, of course, some powers like Nova Shenron and East Shenron, or Ice Shenron. It's just that some of them either look too similar and just palette swapped, or some of them look stupid, or some of them just didn't really work out. So, in essence, you can have these same characters, you just need to change their look. I would keep Omega Shenron as an 8th Shadow Dragon that still has the crystal balls on his chest and everything, but as he uses a power of his other Shadow Dragons, that specific crystal lights up with that dragon's star number. That would be interesting, so that way you can keep Sin Shenron, just give him a redesign his character, but still keep Sin Shenron. Where you have other characters in the stands and it feels more tournament-y. Where the second tournament should feel like a finale, so that way you have these other Shadow Dragons in the audience with other villains or other evil people that may be there from other universes, along with other characters throughout the DBZ universe. Like, it would be nice to have a cameo of Aurelie there at the second multi-universe tournament. would be interesting to see if like Garlic Jr. tried to do something and then they just straight up kill him, even though he's immortal. And then maybe the Kais, maybe Grand Kai, the Saiyans, in bringing them back. 18 some of the other Dragon Ball characters like General Tao, Goku's friend, Native American friend that he made in Dragon Ball along with his father. It'd be nice to have them at the multi-universe tournament. That would be very interesting, you know. And as we're talking about this finale, let's talk about the teams that I personally envision for some of them. Now, as I said before, they would kill their own. Some of these gods would kill their whole teams to have a better team for the next tournament, thusly making it better and filling it more with a finale. And thus, my first team idea that I have is reviving a lot of people while making one other character canon, in which you have Cooler approach this god of destruction and telling him he has a whole team ready for him that will not fail him, but will succeed. Of course, he won't succeed because Goku's team should win out in this next tournament, but beside the point. Cooler should then tell him all we need to do is make a simple wish to bring back my family +1. So essentially, this wish would bring back King Cold, Frieza, and Cell. Now, a lot of people are probably thinking, well, 4 out of 5, who's the 5th member? This is another movie villain that should be brought in, using Frieza's connections, and basically whenever the Saiyans couldn't get it done, I called this man to get the other extremely hard jobs done, in Bojack. In which you now have one complete villain team, with Frieza, Cell, King Cold, Cooler, and Bojack. For Frieza and his father King Cold and his brother Cooler, they should all have the 5th transformation from Cooler's first movie, while still having the Nova form, and allowing Frieza to tap into even more power, so that way it's not a wasted revival, but at the same time Frieza can properly train, because now he has people around him that can focus him rather than have him think only of revenge. There's a focused in Frieza that would have stayed there for an extra 2 months before he came to Earth and fought Goku. Goku said it himself in the Resurrection of F movie, Frieza would have won. But as soon as he found this form, he immediately came to Earth. In the Nova form, he immediately came to Earth. So with his father King Cold and Cooler to be able to focus him in, to be able to train him to get to this 5th transformation, and then add the Nova form to it to give him even more power, it creates a whole new horrifying villain. And then with everybody seeing this Nova form and Super Saiyan Blue and Super Saiyan God, people have been creating this new form for Cell. So Cell would also be able to tap into this power, and we'd see something new out of Cell, which that in itself would be an interesting thing. And then of course, along the way, the evil of evil gods would be in cahoots with each other or in league with one another to try and do something very diabolical, like maybe we'll use our teams to assassinate the Omni King, or we'll team up together and kill the Omni King, something like that. Which our next team would consist of people that only the 5 previous members that I mentioned would trust. So thusly, Frieza would use his best soldier in reviving Captain Ginyu and the Ginyu Force, and thusly the Ginyu Force would be out in the audience during this tournament. Cooler would use Salza from his little bodyguard group. King Cold would use a new character, use his best soldier for his personal guard, which would be a brand new character. Then Bojack would use the girl from his troop, Zangya. I do not believe I'm saying that right, and if I am not, I super apologize. While Cell could just easily create a Cell Jr. his size and just focusing right and just, or even if it's just a little bit smaller than him, there you go, Cell Jr. We're done with that squad. Because they would want people that they could trust, that would be loyal to them. While Cooler would also have his own plans, while the gods would probably have their own plans to overthrow the Omni King. Moving on, our next team is nothing but new characters, with the exception of 2 characters, and having Broly made into a real character, and Trunks from the Zamasu arc, Future Trunks. Now, the reason why I feel Trunks should be on a different team would be more so for his sake, to be able to fight up against other fighters while also having the possibility to go against his father. Now, the team that Trunks would be on, of course, wouldn't be evil, but not necessarily everyone on it is good, as we saw from Universe 6 in Frost. Now, when I say that, I'm bringing up Broly. Now, in Broly's case, making him canon is a rather simple process, in, of course, not acknowledging the Broly movies, but instead making him his own character, in that he himself is just easily Super Saiyan Blue, and then when we see his green hair, it could be a new level of Super Saiyan God, maybe a 4th level Super Saiyan Blue, or semi-mastered Super Saiyan Blue. Because if you look at his hairstyle, even though he gets all super buff and steroid looking, Broly has his hairstyle similar to that of Super Saiyan 4 if you pay attention to it in the first Broly movie. Now, you could use that to be able to increase power for Goku and Vegeta in giving this green hair, because also yellow and blue make green, so that's one thing to also consider. And in this, we get to learn a little bit more as we go through this process. Maybe we also have a filler episode, kinda sorta, where we get Whis to explain how the weaknesses of Super Saiyan 3 and the potential Super Saiyan Blue 3, in poking out its holes, and how to properly train it into where it would not affect Goku in that way, or Vegeta in that way, to achieve this semi-mastered Super Saiyan. And I say semi-mastered because there should be a 5th level Super Saiyan, where it's just basically Super Saiyan 4, but it's all white. I like the all white design, and it's still a fairly simple design that nobody can really copyright claim or anything like that. So Akira Toriyama could use that for himself, because it's just the Super Saiyan 4 character design, but you're simply using a different color palette. And Broly would be this first step into showing that there is this one last reachable power to show that he can boost himself up, but Goku's primary goal should be increasing his base strength in order to become stronger through those other transformations. And I think that's where we should look at it. Also, for those trying to look at multipliers, Super Saiyan Blue essentially is twice multiplier of regular Super Saiyan. So essentially, instead of the 50% increase in strength for Super Saiyan, I think it's a 100% increase to Super Saiyan Blue from your base strength. Or 50, is it 50 times? I think it's 50 times. Excuse me, not 50%, 50 times. Going into 100 times your base strength for Super Saiyan Blue, and so on and so forth, in doing that same increase of power all the way up to Mastered Super Saiyan God. And of course, Broly again would be this show of semi-mastered Super Saiyan with his green hair and overly buff body, because we can also explain this off in that, in a similar fashion to how we see Future Trunks during the Zamasu arc. I just had a fly come in my face, I'm sorry guys. Where we see Future Trunks turn into this false Super Saiyan Blue, but we also see him go buff for a little bit, but then he manages to bring it back in. Essentially, this semi-mastered Super Saiyan God for Broly is similar to that, except he keeps buff, so it would be more so similar to Trunks' Ultimate Super Saiyan, where he's extremely buff but slow. But I guess then I would more so compare it to Super Vegeta, in that Broly was still able to keep up a really good speed while increasing his strength immensely. So yeah, let's go with Super Vegeta more so for the Semi-Mastered Super Saiyan, for specifically Broly. But everybody else can master the Semi-Mastered Super Saiyan God themselves and stay condensed, not super buff. As we move forward, another team that I had would be using a team of basically characters from Otherworld, that people that, because of this, essentially, as sad as it sounds, yes, a lot of people are borrowing from Universe 7, but I also feel like it's just a better way to use the characters that you have within the universe that I feel like a lot of fans would like to see, as well as see become more involved with the canon. On top of which, it saves Akira Toriyama time to compare to making just a whole bunch of new characters. Now, for this other team, I would have Deborah, who would be South Kai's new golden boy. I would bring Legit, maybe give him a different wardrobe, maybe not, from the GT series, and make him West Kai's golden boy. Pycon, of course, being East Kai. Oh no, wait, I gotta flip the first thing, because East Kai was the woman, West Kai was the little short guy that always fought with North Kai or King Kai. So yeah. And then of course, West Kai's golden boy in Pycon. Now, who does that leave us with in King Kai? I feel like that should be a new character as well. And then our fifth member for this other universe would also be another new character, but also, for the first time ever, a female Saiyan that is a true demigod. Now, what that would do is show Goku and Vegeta that there is Mastered Super Saiyan God, and show it through her, while also bringing in a new element as a female Saiyan, and also showing that yes, even the female of the Saiyan race can go Super Saiyan, which would be very interesting in a new dynamic to also add into the in-depth story of Dragon Ball as a whole. I already mentioned the Shadow Dragons. Next one, I would have Champa replace the metal guy and the guy that starts with B, the yellow guy that looks like a bear, look like Yellow Majin Buu with a bear face. Yeah, that works. I'm sorry I don't like him. I do not like him nor the metal guy. But anyways, I would have Champa replace those two with a Namekian from his universe and another character from Champa's universe that looks similar to Android 16. Then I would have a universe based around demons, because as we know, we've seen angels, we've seen all this, so of course there should be demons, but we've also seen some magic, so there will be a universe based around magic to a degree, not like, you know, over the top like magic anime, magical girl, or like fairy tale levels of magic. Just their source of power would be known as magic rather than ki. But as we're sitting here for this universe, it would be a demon universe in which their ace in the hole would be Janemba, and not just the big fat Janemba, but Super Janemba, and using that character design and making him the demon, not the demon, a demon, and making him the Demon King that replaced Deborah after he had left with Babidi. And then of course I would make Mira from the Dragon Ball Xenoverse saga into a canon character more so that way she could be a part of that team. Let her bring in her little creation, her guy, and then I would bring in 2 new characters named after the dark gods of Hades and Izanami. That would be interesting. That actually sounds cool just rolling off the tongue. These are demons, Izanami and Hades. Sounds pretty badass if you ask me. Then we have ones that are more basic, another universe based more around actual fighting technique, or excuse me, not actual fighting technique, based around real mythology, in which gods of our real world are there as other fighters for this god of destruction. So I would bring Suwukong to reality, or Wukong, or Son Goku, as some people might call him, the Monkey King of Chinese lore. Hercules, Anubis, Thor, and Takemikazuchi, the thunder god of Japanese lore. And using those characters, again, this universe would already be in the these competitors, I should say, not this universe, excuse me, would be in the first multi-universe tournament and continue to be here for the next one, as would the demons, Universe 7, I already said, well, pretty much I've already explained pretty much all of that, but Universe 10 would follow a similar pattern, except it would fall under the Christian mythology more so, in having characters or competitors for that universe based off of Lucifer, Michael, Gabriel, Ezekiel, and just because in name itself, a lot of fans would be ready to see this character, Sephiroth. They're all angel characters, and this is the universe that I would base around magic, or some type of energy of its own. And in another universe based off of magic, with other gods, in... I don't even know how to pronounce this one god's name. Actually, I don't know how to spell that one either. I mean, not spell, enunciate. Spell and enunciate. Enunciate, spell. See? Grammar, ladies and gentlemen. Kali, Shiva, and Sedna, the water god of Native American mythology. The first god is... his name starts with a T, and he is the lightning god of Polynesian mythology. We have an air god from Hispanic mythology as our 5th and final member for this all magical team. And in our 12th and final universe, I had the awesome idea of having a squad made of completely Frieza characters. All 5 characters, or competitors, excuse me, for this universe are Frieza characters, but they're like the Sentai, right? They still do the whole pirate thing. So specifically, I would hope that Super Toei Funimation could figure out a way to work with the Sentai organization over there in Japan to have the pirate Sentai be referenced to them, and even so go as far as to basically have the actors for the Pirate Sentai to voice this Frieza team. So yes, all 6 of them would be there. It's just that the 6th one would be in the audience rather than on the team. And then of course, as they all have their final form, just like Frieza does, they would also have the Nova form that are in different colors, which would fall into the whole Sentai thing, which would be really cool and really funny too to see, which still keeps up with the gag thing of Dragon Ball. And that'd just be so awesome to see. Can you imagine that? And then Goku having to fight them too. So much awesomeness in one moment. And of course they would be there for the first multi-universe tournament and still be there for the second one. Now, as I already said before too, going all the way back to halfway through this video, that the first universe tournament would be based around the Dark Tournament, while the second one would be more so based around a mixture of the Dark Tournament with the last tournament in Yu Yu Hakusho. Now, necessarily, it may be a good thing, it may be a bad thing, I don't know. I'm just throwing out suggestions right now, guys. But I believe in my heart of hearts that this can work. These ideas, if put to pen and paper, would make things so much greater, so much grander. But again, you know, I'm sitting here saying that they would be so much greater, so much grander, but at the same time, these are just simply my own ideas, my own thoughts. So don't take them to heart. Don't think that my ideas are better, or that I'm saying that my ideas are better than anybody else's out there. I'm just saying that from a logical point of view, using this format to extend the series and build the series from where it's at right now to where it can possibly go, this is the best format to go about it, while also having characters that we can see, enjoy, that are new, and then finally find out who the biggest badass in all of Dragon Ball is. And just as I said before, Goku would lose the first tournament, but then Universe 7 should win out as the final one. And then of course the final little plot twist of like a couple episodes of like what I mentioned earlier, of like, you know, the evil gods trying to do something and take out the Omni King, or the maybe Cooler takes out the Kai of the universe that he contracted with because he says some disrespectful shit. So then they try and go on a rampage, and so on and so forth. That is just my personal belief in how that would work. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below as I slowly wrap this up. Thank you guys for listening to me for over 36 minutes. Wow. Longest we've done, guys. Thank you for sticking in there with me. If you've actually made it through this entire video, thank you. Thank you so much. Like, in all honesty, you guys are the reason why I do these videos. Not saying anything against the people that just sat here and watched for a little bit and said, I don't exactly agree with anything said and I'm going to change the video. That's okay, it's alright. Not everybody has to agree with what I'm saying or like what I'm saying. It's just that if you took the time out to even at least hear what I had to say, I still thank you just for doing that simple act. Because it's for that very reason that you guys actually sit here and listen to me that I do these videos, and I thank you guys for that. Just thank you very, very much. And like that, guys, I'll go ahead and end it right here. As always, until next time, I'll see you next time. Have a God bless day.